We begin tonight with yet another Coastal Bend restaurant shutting down due to COVID-19 concerns. This time, a popular Mexican food restaurant over in Portland. Details in tonight's top story. This as cases of the novel coronavirus spike across the state. Experts warn of a second wave of COVID-19 on the way. The owner of Pep's restaurant in Portland taking extra precautions here. In a Facebook post today, management saying they're temporarily closing the popular restaurant out of an abundance of caution. Now, we want to stress so far there have been no confirmed cases of COVID-19 at that particular location, but the owner says he's putting the health of his family and employees first. Closing the eatery down to undergo deep cleaning and having all of his employees tested.